Hi everyone. Hello everyone. Welcome to Team Racine's YouTube Live. I am Krylios, Team Racine Productions MC and producer. And joining me today, reporter from WUSA 9, Michael Quander. Welcome.
What's up? How you doing?
I am doing great. I'm doing great. It's so awesome to have you here with us again. The last time we chatted, the pandemic had just started. That was all the way back in March or like early April, something like around that time. Tell
Right.
me what has changed since then? Like in the newsroom, what is the vibe of the newsroom? How have those past months been like? What's all of that been like?
Yeah, first of all, 2020, has just been crazy, right?
Yeah.
I think when we talk about unprecedented times, it has been like that for all of us, especially as a journalist, because again, last time we talked, pandemic just started. Now I am no longer in the newsroom. I'm working from home at all times. I've went into the studio for the first time a couple of weeks ago to fill in on the anchor desk a little bit. But other than that, I've been at home and in the streets doing Zoom interviews like
Yeah.
this. It's just been different, and for all of us to just adapt to, honestly.
Course, I can imagine. And tell me how the because one of the things that was not happening at the time when we last spoke was the new surge of protests and demonstrations when it comes to social and racial equality in this country and the Black Lives Matter movement. Now tell me, as a journalist, with that and the coronavirus and an upcoming election together, all happening at the same time, what is that like?
Baby, right. That's all I can say. It's been crazy, but I think that we realize the importance of our jobs as journalists right now more than ever. Coronavirus, people were already seeking that vital information about their health, things to keep them alive and keep them and their families safe. And then you had this new surge and this new resurgence of this movement for Black lives and for equality. And I think for me, this was the first time in my career where I had to take a pause and look in the mirror and realize that I told this line as a Black man, right, a Black gay man, and as a reporter. And I had to figure out. It was difficult, I have to be honest, to figure out how to report those stories. Because at the end of the day, I can't ignore my own experiences and my own people's experiences, while still having to still have some journalistic integrity and report the stories as fairly as possible. And then one thing that I think for me has helped me kind of get through that is that I work at a station, thankfully, that allows you to be human and to be real and to realize that, yeah, I am a Black man and I have had friends and myself who have had racially charged experiences, and it's okay to talk about that, and it's okay to use that in your reporting, still being fair, obviously. But one thing that's one of my mentors said to me was that there are not two sides to racism. There's a right and there's a wrong, and so there's you don't have to tote around that. You don't have to walk around that line. You can actually step on that line and talk about it and call it out call it what it is.
Yeah, I
So
agree. And
yeah.
that's really, really important. And I like you touched on something that, even though you're a reporter, you're still human and you're still this human with these specific experiences that are specific to to your experience, and if you're in the news, I just feel like it's one of those things that you really do try to toe the line, but it's something that you have to talk about if that's the case because it's real, you know.
You really do, and I think that you do a disservice
Yeah.
to people if you don't do that, right? So I think about the person that doesn't feel like they have a voice in the world, and they see me on the news delivering information, important information, but totally ignoring the experience, right? So we can't ignore that. We have to be real and talk about that, and I think that's why hopefully newsrooms are diverse, because people come from different walks of life. And I think, I've had coworkers challenge me because even as a Black person, my experience may be different from another Black person's
Yeah.
experience. And so we've had those conversations. It's been emotional. And I can't say that, you know, a lot of us just kind of like first responders or doctors, and you kind of, you cut off that, like, that emotion part and get the job done. This has been one of those stories to follow that it's been tough to cut the emotion off. I feel the anger, I feel the sadness, I've cried about this, but more importantly, I go to work every day because I'm like, right now we have a job to do, and this job is so important right now more than ever too.
As a matter of fact, I think being a reporter, being a journalist in a year like this year is probably, I mean, it's so pivotal because you're covering so many historical moments that this year alone could fill half a history textbook, literally. So you're covering so many of these things, and to be in the thick of it, I think it's really, really important. It's really, really important. Now, tell me, have they said when you guys might be able to come back into the newsroom? Has there been any discussion about that?
Yeah, so thankfully, again, I work for a company that's putting our health first. I know I've heard of other companies where they've already integrated people back into the station, and or back into their workspaces across the country, whatever. But for us, I've been told that process is going to be extremely slow. So they're going to probably start with like 2 people at a time, right? And so as we don't want to rush it, because as we can see, even in DC, the numbers were going down, and then we've seen spikes happening, right? And so the biggest thing is about keeping all of us safe, as well. And so even kind of like with traveling and things like that, hey, if you travel to a coronavirus hotspot, like, you can't tell you what to do in your own time, but if you travel to one, you're going to go on a 14-day quarantine, because we need to make sure that you're keeping not only yourself safe, but also your coworkers and the public. We talk to the public every day, so make sure we're keeping everybody safe.
Definitely. No, Joe Biden just selected his running mate, Kamala Harris,
Yes.
and the election is in November. Tell me, as someone who works with the news, what what can we look at the news coverage running up to the election? Know that Biden has his running mate. Trump is Trump. What's the coverage we're looking at now, running, since we are now in the final stretch going up to November?
Yeah, and it feels like, because so much has been happening in the world, that, like, it feels like, wow, November is actually almost here. Like, it's going to be here before we know it. But first, I have to touch on the Kamala Harris appointment. To be Joe Biden's running mate. Such a historical moment, though, right? No matter what side of the issues you fall on, Democrat, Republican, moderate, whatever you identify as, this is just a moment in history that we're all witnessing right now, to have the first Black woman to be a part of a major ticket, who's connected right here to us at Howard University.
Like, same, I'm Jamaican. I went to Howard. I'm very connected.
But I think there's something to be said, though. It is a pride point for, I think, a lot of us who live here in DC, who have connections to Howard, connections to the different or regions of the world that she has ties to as well. So I think I just wanted to touch on that and say, like, just already such a historic moment that we're already witnessing. But I think leading up to the election, I think that we have debates to look forward to. There's going to be a lot of decision making that needs to be made. If anything, I'm hoping that people have looked at everything happening in the world right now and are feeling charged to at least go to the polls. No matter how you feel, but to go and to let your voice be heard, because we're seeing now that, leadership is so important, and, we got to make sure that we have the right leadership. One thing I tell people, especially viewers leading up to big elections and things like that, make sure that you are getting the verified information. I know that at our station at WUSA 9, we exist to inform, inspire, and make a positive impact. And part of that is making sure that we are checking the facts, right? Making sure that people are, like, getting the right information. There's so much out there online. So, like, we do this thing called Verify, where we allow viewers and people to kind of send us their social media posts that they're seeing floating around, ask questions, and then we pull back the curtain and show people, hey, this is who I talked to get the answers to your questions. This is what I found out. This information is either verified or it's not verified. And then that way you could be a little bit more smart about how you're moving forward into the world, into going to the polling booths, but also what you're sharing online. So it takes all of us to be really responsible about what we're sharing online and what information we're choosing to consume as well. So, yeah.
That's great. That is definitely great. Now, I'll end with a question that I asked you the last time, but now because things are so different, I'm going to ask it again. Now, for the end of the year, leading into 2021, what is your hope? Just with everything that's going on, what is your hope as we head into a new year? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I had so many high hopes going into 2020, but I am a
Same.
I'm a super optimistic and positive person, though, and I do think that my hope is that we have taken this time to grow closer to one another, that we have taken time to get smarter, learn more about ourselves during these quarantine moments, and also that we realize that life is short, and it's not promised to anyone tomorrow, and to live each day like it's like it's your last, and to just live it up and to be nice to people, right? And so like your kindness can go a long way. And so I'm hoping that for more of a sense of humanity from people as we go into this next year. And just for some good times and some good weather. And I want to go outside and see people. And like,
Yeah.
I do.
Same here. Same here. Alrighty. Share your social media so people can keep up with you and keep up with the news.
Yes, keep up. Let's go. Yeah, I'm at Mike Q Reports on Instagram and Twitter, and it's at Michael Quander Reports on Facebook. And if y'all have story ideas, if there are things that you all are not seeing on the news that y'all feel like need to be on there, DM me, hit me up on social media, or shoot me an email. My email is mquander at wusa9.com. Again, I'm a DC native, and I hold this city so close to my heart, and the issues of the people who live here. So if there are things that people want to see on the news that they're not seeing, I definitely want to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Michael, and thank you so much for joining me once
Yeah.
again today. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, and to our viewers, thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.